Congressman Tom Reed of New York. They are the co-chairs of the Problem Solvers Caucus. And gentlemen, we have got problems to solve. I know both of you have played a key role in these relief package negotiations. So I turn to you, Congressman Gottheimer. First, of course, I always give New Jersey preference. This is so obvious, this bill. We are in the middle of a massive crisis. Millions of Americans are waking up right now hungry. You have had since June to get something done. And please don't bring up the HEROES bill. It's great. It's super. It's fantastic. But unless the Senate was going to vote to approve it, it's meaningless. Why is this taking so long?
Stephanie, I share your complete frustration. And it's why we've been working, as you pointed out, the Problem Solvers Caucus with a group of senators, Democrats, and Republicans for months now to get this package across the finish line. Our framework is now within inches of getting done, as was reported a minute ago. It's absurd that it's taken this long with people, as you point out, hungry, with small businesses going out every day, people on unemployment, people about to get kicked out of their homes because of no extension of the eviction moratorium. So this solves all that, right? It gives unemployment to people. It gives direct checks to people to help them out through the holidays. Vaccine distribution key right now, as you know, to get us, this is an emergency short-term package to get us into that new administration with PPP, helping our schools, really all the pieces and the food security pieces, all the things that are essential right now. And the idea that we would obviously delay this anymore is, as you pointed out, completely and totally absurd.
But nothing in this thing is extraordinary. Why on earth did it take this long? Congressman Reed?
Well, I will tell you, I echo the frustration you just state, Stephanie. And we are so glad to have been part of this in the Problem Solvers Caucus to say to our leadership, enough is enough. And we were glad to see that they finally engaged. Remember, they weren't even talking to each other until we in the Problem Solvers Caucus, now the bipartisan Senate group, kind of got together and said, we have to get this done before Christmas. And then you saw the commitments made. We are not leaving before Christmas to get this done. So that has forced this conversation to come to a head. And I'm glad that the leaders are doing what needs to be done. And there's really no controversy other than what really is slowing it down at this point in time, in my humble opinion, is the people that want to kill this deal are throwing their last grenades to try to blow this whole thing up because they don't want it to happen. But they're not going to be successful. They're not going to be successful.
With all due respect, Congressman Reed, and I get it, you two are leading the Problem Solvers Caucus. You want to get this thing done. You're going to get this thing done now because you all want to go home for Christmas break. Millions of people aren't going to have a Christmas this year. This delay is part of the reason Congress's approval rating in this country is only around 20%. Do you understand why so many Americans think so low of our lawmakers?
From your mouth to God's ears, I agree with them. That's why we started the Problem Solvers Caucus. That's 4 years ago we put this together. And thank goodness we have leaders like Josh Gottheimer, and we got leaders in the Problem Solvers Caucus that have said enough is enough of this gamemanship. You're playing with real American lives, and the American people deserve to be the priority in Congress again.
But the people who don't want this deal to get done, Congressman Gottheimer, who are roadblocking it, do they live in states where people haven't lost their jobs, lost their homes, lost their businesses, lost their lives?
As you know, every state in the country now has been hit by the pandemic, right? You're talking about 300,000 deaths in our country. In Jersey, 5,000 new cases a day. 1 in every 500 have died in my state, and it's affecting states all across the country. So I don't know what world they live in, to be honest with you, and it's incredibly frustrating. But here's the bottom line, Stephanie. They're trying to throw, this is like their last minute to throw something in that's unrelated to the bill, to try to find some other way to get their last minute, as Tom said, some sort of last minute provision in there. But I'll tell you now, if these people who are trying to mess with this bill try to take this down instead of actually helping people who urgently, as you point out, needed, who are in food lines for the very first time in their lives, or who are desperately in need of rental assistance or help with unemployment or a second PPP loan. If they mess this up, I mean, I understand why people are beyond angry at Washington. And as Tom just said, who does an excellent job, Tom Reed, it's this idea that we get together every week to figure out how to solve a problem instead of looking how to obstruct things. And you can't get everything you want every time. The idea is to make progress, get us through this emergency as best we can and into the next administration.
But Congressman Gottheimer, you also say that this deal is a down payment. More has to be done. What makes you think you're going to get anything more done after January 20th? Yes, Joe Biden is going to be president, but Democrats aren't going to be in a better position.
Well, but the country will still be hurting. I mean, you're looking at what's happening to the economy. And as you pointed out, Stephanie, it's not just in Jersey or in New York. It's in every state across the country. And unfortunately, I'm so obviously pleased about the vaccine that's getting out there. That's critically important, but it's going to take months, as Dr. Gottlieb just said a minute ago. It's going to take months to get out. And so that means you're going to have families still hurting, communities still hurting, our state and local governments. I've got so many communities here that can't pay their cops and teachers and firefighters. We're going to have to address that. That's critical. So there are things we're going to need to do. And obviously, we're going to have to sit down and figure it out. You can't leave the table. And it's going to take Democrats and Republicans working together. That's the only way we're going to get it done.
Amen to that. Congressman Reed, the first relief bill provided a $1,200 check for Americans. The current one will most likely provide $600. Is that enough?
Well, I'm actually very happy that we were ultimately able to include that, as Josh and I sponsored a piece of legislation supporting that. And that wasn't on the original proposal. But if that gets this deal done, in order to get the 218 votes in the House and 60 votes in the Senate to get relief flowing to the American people, I'm glad it is. Now, as to the amount, obviously, we've been through a tremendous amount. We got $1,200 out the first go around. We're going to be able to give additional checks so people have $600 on top of the relief of unemployment, housing, food, and other assistance that they need today. And for small businesses that are going to need the Paycheck Protection Program relief, now that $600 will be an additional relief that they can direct where it's needed most in their household.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.